Let's just start to say we were talking there that there's some kind of perks of doing this kind of ensemble thing. Tell us about.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's nice because I don't have to work very hard, which is nice, because I don't like to work very hard. And you have all these great actors, all these other people who are fantastic, and so everything feels very supported. Nobody feels like they're pulling the whole thing. Although Ryan Gosling probably felt like he was pulling the whole thing, so. But no, I had a nice part too, because I just got to pop in and out and be the bad guy occasionally, and that's nice when you get to do that. So but it's nice to know that everybody's there to.
So you think you're the bad guy of the movie?
No, I actually don't think I'm. I think everybody's pretty shitty in this movie. So, I mean, there really is no good guy in the movie. No, which is nice. I like that a lot, actually. So, yeah. So.
Então, vamos começar com o Q&A, com as perguntas. Ponham o manual, por favor. E isto é...
You can't do that to me with the Portuguese, man. I can't understand.
Fala em português, nós traduzimos. Esteja à vontade. Ou deixar, sim, em português nós traduzimos.
Faster. Come on.
What's the difference between Clooney the actor and Clooney the director?
There is no difference. Everything with Clooney is just Clooney all the time. I didn't really have to act with him in this, so I didn't get to see what that was like when he would come around and do the other thing. But seriously, his personality is actually what it seems to be, or he's very good at bullshitting people and seeming to be that thing all the time. So, he's very affable and relaxed, and he lets you do what, he lets you go, and if he has something to say, he'll say it. But he didn't, most of the, those two scenes I have, it was a nice job, it was easy. We only shot those, we only did maybe 2 takes of those scenes. And he was like, that's good, are you guys good? And I was like, sure, I'm good if you're good. But, so we didn't do a whole lot of, intense take after take after take thing. And that's kind of his personality. He just felt like, he doesn't want to work people to death. But acting-wise, I actually like him very much in this movie. That last scene he has, he's a bastard, kind of, and I don't feel like you've seen him be that kind of a bastard in the movie before, so, but, he's who he is, and that's what he's like in both capacities. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Mais mãos levantadas. There's one over there, lá em cima.
Oh, no, really? Faster! Come on!
Hi, good evening. First of all, I'm really sorry. Good effort. Well, I saw Sideways for like a bunch of times because I think you were great. And last movie, Barney's version was great too. What is the difference for you to do like the bad guy in this movie and doing these 2 comedies of a real life? I think it was a comedy, both Sideways and Barney's version were faithful for our life, and it was really fun. What is for you to do this bad guy movie instead of a comedy?
I thought it was a comedy.
This is a comedy.
Man, everything's funny to me. Those are bad guys in Barney's version and in Sideways. They're not good guys, I mean, I don't think this guy is the bad guy in this movie. Philip Hoffman plays the guy that everybody says is the only good guy in this movie, but he's a dick too. I mean, he's a terrible person too. And I would probably say the same things about loyalty and all that crap to somebody, but I didn't feel like it was that different a thing. Because I don't think I thought this guy was a bad guy any more or less than those other guys were. I mean, the interesting thing with somebody like this and all these characters, Ryan's character especially, is that I think they actually have a kind of idealistic sense of things. I mean, I think they actually are driven by some kind of idealism. I think the guy I play actually, somewhere buried in his sick, disgusting person, he has some actual belief that he's doing something good. So I didn't actually ever think of him as a bad guy. He's more manipulative maybe than the other people are in the movie. So, but comedy and I'm not comfortable doing anything in my life, comedy or tragedy.
Well, there was more wine in
It's all
Sideways.
hard. It was a lot more wine, which is nice.
And I thought
Yes,
it
although
was
this
more
man was an
fun.
alcoholic too. I was drinking too on the set.
There was more sex in Barney's version, so I thought
There was a
it
lot of sex in Barney's version too. No, that's nice. No,
I thought they were more fun.
no, it's
than
nice.
This one.
No, you're right. Sex is nice to do that in movies.
I think that too.
And then I like to think this guy has sex sometimes in this movie.
Sex
And I was
wine.
thinking that, yeah, no, in my head I was having sex all the time with everybody in this movie. But you're right. I mean, but this is what it is, and this can be fun too. I mean, when I got the script for it, my agent, who I don't really like very much, was saying, "Well, don't you want to? You should play the part that Philip is playing." And I said, "No, but he's a loser. I get to play the guy who wins in the end of this movie." I said, "Finally, I get to play the guy who wins in the end of this movie." So that was nice. I don't know. I didn't really answer your question, but
I like talking to you, so let's go.
Here, oh, there.
Do you think the recognitions as
where is this guy? Oh, there you go. Hey. Wow, the microphone got to you so fast. I didn't.
she was expecting me? Do you think before Sideways, your main film was American Splendor, and you were finally into Hollywood stars? Before that, you have smaller papers, or do you think it was before American Splendor?
No, I mean, I mean, in terms of, I mean, it was certainly something that I hadn't played the sort of central character in a movie before. I'd done a lot of movies before that, and most of them pretty bad. And so, pretty bad. I didn't even see them, most of them. But yeah, so it made a difference, definitely. But sort of lucky chance with that.
And does that mean that nowadays it's very difficult for an actor in Hollywood to become an important one before 30?
No, I think it's very rare that that kind of broken middle-aged man like me becomes an actor of any note. I think it's, no, I don't think it's any easier one way or the other, but I got lucky with that movie. It's a nice movie. I like that movie, so. That guy? The kid right over there? Which kid? That guy. Okay.
Matt, do you think this gives a good picture about politics in the United States, or not? So this vision of politicians and politics, it's a nice picture of, nice in the sense of realistic. You think it's a realistic picture of politics and politicians in the United States? And if yes, do you think it's the same way in the other countries or not?
I think it's worse than it is in this movie. I think the one thing when I saw the movie, that I said to George was, I said, this isn't bad enough. These people are worse. And I think that they are, actually. I think it's a very realistic portrait of it. And for Americans, you know, in America, a lot of the reviews sort of said, well, this is boring. Why are we watching these assholes be assholes like this? We all know that they're like this, you know? So in some ways, it's so realistic that people were a little bit like, you know, why? Why show this? Other countries, I mean, you have to tell me. I imagine it's probably not that different, maybe here in Portugal. I'm just guessing. This is my first time here, but, you know, it could be bad here, maybe, I imagine. And I think that the interesting thing was that when I first read the script and when I see the movie, it could be lots of other, it could be in lots of other environments. It doesn't have to necessarily be politics, and it's a character study, to me, of somebody entering the adult world. And it's a very dark portrait of becoming an adult. And, you know, because the adults in the room are me and Phil and Clooney, and that's horrible. You know, because the children in the movie are him and her, and she dies, and he becomes worse than me. And so it's bad. You know, growing up is really bad. So, but yeah, I mean, all that said, it's a pretty accurate, I think. And I do think it's worse. I think it's a lot worse, actually, than this.
Hello? Over here.
Where are you?
On your left.
On my left? Hi.
Hi. Clooney is known for being a prankster on set. I'm curious to find out what prank he pulled on you, if he did.
No, he didn't. Just casting me but no, he didn't do anything like that to me. I think he sensed that I would bite him or something if he did that. He did something to Ryan where he I peed on his leg or something like that. There was some whole story about him pretending to pee on his leg or something like that. He does, but he's very, you know, he is like that, and he kind of wants to get. What was amazing was, truly, he would only do a few takes, and then when the day was done, it was done, and it would only be 8 hours, which is nothing for a movie. You expect to be there for 19 hours, you know, a day. And at 8 hours, he was just like, you know, let's go get a drink.
I think it's because he's an actor and he's annoyed
Yes,
by that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to suffer. Exactly. That's the difference with having an actor do it. He just wanted to go have a drink, which was nice. And so did I, and so it worked out nicely for me and him.
Can I ask another question?
Go ahead.
As far as I'm concerned, yeah.
What made you choose this part?
I was unemployed at the moment.
That was a great job, by the way, then.
I was desperately unemployed. and
you were bailed out.
With no future in sight, and it was all becoming very dark and dim, and I have a child that I have to feed and things like that.
No, what I meant is what attracted you to the
script came to me, and it was, and no, actually I heard that I had talked to him about other movies. Actually, I think each of his movies, very nicely, he had wanted me to do something in it, and I couldn't. Because at that time I was employed in some other capacity. So I couldn't do some of his other things. So I knew, you know, they said he wanted me to do this, and I had heard that he was really great to work with from people who'd worked with him. And then I read the script, and I thought it was very well written, and it would be fun to do, because, you know, I had long scenes that go on for 6 pages instead of a page and a half of just, you know, crap. And I had, like, you know, a long scene that would be, and I liked the idea also of, it's one of those parts, it really is nice to be able to pop in there every now and then you see me on the TV in the background, and I'm this, like, sinister guy who's around, you know. So that was fun too, and then the other actors, and there was no reason really not to do it. I needed a job, so.
It was a great job, by the way.
Thank you. That guy right there.
Me first? Okay. Well, thank you very much. My question is, and this is probably sharing a more non-American perspective of films with politicians filmed in America. which is that we always have the same actors and we always have the same people playing those satellite roles around the main politicians. And at least me, I always think this could have been anybody else doing this role and I would not have been able to tell the difference. In this kind of situation, how do you stand out? How do you grab a script about politics and think, I'd like to do something interesting with this. I'd like to do something original with this.
Different with it, yeah. Well, like I say, I mean, that was a concern about it, you know, and no, I mean, and I didn't worry too much about it. I mean, I think I thought that the script was unique enough and the voice in it was unique enough that I didn't have to worry that I needed to dress it up particularly, you know. I hear what you're saying. I didn't feel any particularly...
Because, I mean, perhaps not with the cast that you were working with, but at least the actor who plays Molly's father, we've seen him play a politician so many times before. He was...
Have you? I've never seen him.
He was president of the U.S. in one
of the... Who the fuck is he? I don't even know.
In one of the 24...
Really? Is he in a lot of Portuguese television and stuff?
No, he was...
He's fucking great, that guy. Is he, really? You've seen him play a lot of politicians?
He played the president of the U.S. in one of the 24
He played the president once? In what?
Because, I mean, we see the same actors usually doing political
Yeah, I know,
roles.
yeah.
We haven't seen you do that. No, I don't think we've seen George or...
They do all look alike, that's true. They do all look alike.
But, I mean, once you have an original story to tell and an original script to share with people, how do you really make it not be just another...
Well, hopefully it's original enough to carry itself through doing that, you know? I mean, hopefully it will just do that itself. But I hear you, and I do think, as I was saying, a lot of the reaction to it was, this isn't very original. You know, I mean, honestly, in America, a lot of the reaction was, but we've seen this before. And of course, Clooney will run for president because everybody wants Clooney to be fucking president. You know, that was everybody's reaction, which was weird. What was weird about that reaction was there was a kind of very funny cynicism about cynicism. It was this kind of like, oh, this bullshit of corrupt politicians, we've had it with this crap. Which was very weird, I actually thought. I thought if we've reached that point, we're really screwed if now we are cynical about cynicism.
Well, one more quick question, if you don't mind. Also a more personal question. Was the beard an issue? Did George ask you to keep the beard or to shave it?
My beard?
Yeah. Men with beards and...
yeah, men with beards are very weird, I know. I know, men with beards are scary and weird. For Americans, you have a beard, man. I would like to point out that you have a very nice beard.
Hence the question.
No, in fact, I think part of it was that a lot of those guys, for some reason, a lot of those guys have facial hair. I don't know why. And no politician has facial hair, which is a whole other subject we could talk about if you want to. But there was a very specific guy I had in mind, whose name was Lynn Nofziger. And he was, I think he was Reagan's press secretary. And he was, for some reason, for lots of reasons, he was the image I had in my mind for this character. And he had a huge beard. And so, I don't know, that's why I grew a beard, man. You know,
Thank you
too lazy to shave, really.
Thank you.
In the middle is... Do you ever see yourself writing or directing movies instead of just acting?
No. If I found some material, it's a lot of work. It's a different kind of work. It's like, to be a director is like being an architect or something. You know, you have to have a kind of bigger vision of everything, and you have to spend 2 years doing it. And something about that scares the hell out of me. I like to jump from one thing to another. I can't concentrate on anything for very long. So I don't think that I've ever found something that would compel me enough to do it. And I don't know that I'd be able to direct actors very well. I think that I would get very impatient with them, probably. Or I would just let them do whatever the hell they wanted. and either thing would be bad. So I just don't know that I'd be very good at it. So. Oh, wait a minute, you gotta wait for the microphone, wait a second. Oh, here we go.
Hurry.
Here we go, all right.
I think that a nice touch in the movie is that this kind of wheeling and dealing in politics also carries over to the media. And that you see it in the journalist, who's a journalist for the New York Times, if I understood correctly. I'm not sure. And I was wondering how the actual New York Times reacted to the portrayal of the woman, the journalist, and her attempts at blackmail.
I actually think they did get a little bit kind of like, yeah, a little bit offended by it, which they have no right to do. I think they did get a little bit, and the reviewer, I remember, got a little bit smart-assy about the fact that it was the Times.
Sure.
But a lot of the journalists, I mean, they're the worst. They're just, I mean, and the way they collude with this stuff, the whole relationship is really bad.
Yeah.
And it's bad. But I think they did get a little bit, because the New York Times is the most, yeah, I mean, they're so respectable, and they're so clean, and they're so, which is just a bunch of crap, I mean, you know. So, you know.
Thank you.
Do you think here?
Hi. Okay.
Hi. Do you think that a candidate like the one George Clooney plays against fossil fuels and betting on renewable energies is something that we'll see in America in the next, I don't know, 5-10 years?
Nope. Nope. No. I mean, I don't know how much attention you're paying to what's going on now. I hope you're not actually paying a whole lot of attention to it, because I don't want to pay a whole lot of attention to it. No, I mean, I think part of the idea in this is to make somebody, to set up somebody as such an ideal, you know, to make it, and it may overdo it in the movies to some extent, I don't know, but you know, to make him so ideal so that when he crumbles and falls, it's worse, you know. I mean, there are guys who do that, you know, but they don't have a hope in hell of becoming president, guys who say things like that. So, I don't think so. Well, after the next election, maybe, you know, I mean, depending on who gets in there, because it's bad over there, so, you know, maybe there will be a reaction against it, and maybe stuff like that will happen, but I don't think so. Nobody cares in America. I mean, they care, but anyway, I'm getting myself in trouble.
Thank you.
Hi, over here.
Where, this woman here? Yep, got it. There she is. Okay.
I was just wondering, as an actor, do you think that films that are directed by someone that's also acting in the film are better or worse than films with just a director?
I don't know. I mean, I can think of instances where it's a good thing. I like all those Cassavetes movies, which not everybody likes, but those are sort of the ultimate actor directing actors, and I like those. I've only had the experience a few times, twice, where I've worked with it, and both times I liked it. Whether it means the end product is great or not, I don't know. It certainly is pleasing to the actors. I think the best thing is a director who has written it, a writer-director. That's often been a really good experience. Somebody who really, really knows the text really well and happens to be a really good director too. But I've worked with a lot of guys like that. Like the guy who did Sideways, Alexander Payne, is a really good writer-director. I think that's the best that I've found combination. I mean, the actor-director thing, maybe sometimes the focus can fall too much on the acting and not enough on the sort of structure of the movie and stuff. But it's nice for an actor to have a sympathetic person sitting there, you know.
Yes. I would like to know, I liked the film very much and the interpretation of the various actors. Do you think this is Oscar material, the film?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think there's people who have, I think Ryan Gosling is really good in it. I mean, I think if you were going to make any kind of Oscar
What about you in the best supporting role?
No. But he, I think, is actually worthy. I think he's a really good actor in general. I think he's a great actor. And I think he's really good. And yeah, I think he's really, really good. And I think he's really good in this. And I think he's really different from the other things he's done. And so if it was gonna have that kind of thing, I would hope that it would be for him. Because I think he's a really good actor and he should get recognized, you know.
Hi. I like Clooney very much. I like Gosling very much. But I happen to think that, and I have been thinking this for some time, that nowadays you and Philip Seymour Hoffman are the two best actors in American movies.
Thank you. No.
So,
thank you.
This said, I have two questions. It was a little bit frustrating that you have so little time together. In fact, you are not together at all. You just kind of blink to each other or something. Yeah. So the questions are, first, are you guys planning to do something together in the near future? And the second, because you are a kind of a different physical type, then Clooney.
From him or
from Clooney?
Because me and him are pretty, from Clooney.
No, from Clooney.
We're different species, man. We're not different physical types. I mean, that's we're completely different species.
So, do you think that one day it will be possible to have this kind of movie as with you and Philip as the leading actors?
Well, not this kind of movie, because you need actually a guy who looks like Clooney. Nobody who looks like me would run for president. What's that? Ross Perot, that's true, Ross Perot.
Bush?
Bush? No, he's a better looking man than me. I'll give him that, but that's it. That's all I'll give him. He's better looking, and that's it. No, it's funny because I have known Philip for a long time, and I think he's an amazing, great actor. I mean, he's a guy that I look up to. And he and I used to, for a long time, we were against each other for parts all the time. For fat guys, for like frustrated fat guys all the time. He and I, it was like, oh, he got that frustrated fat guy part. I'm gonna get the next frustrated fat guy part. You know, so it was very funny. And we did that for a long time. He's an amazing actor. I would love to do something with him. And actually during the press for this that we had to do in Toronto and Venice, we actually would like to do something. I don't know what the hell we'll ever do, because what the hell movie is going to have two guys who look like us playing the leads? I'm not sure what that would be, but it would be really nice to do something with them. But I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Thank you.
Over you. On your right. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, sorry. Is there a character you would really like to play, either from a book you really love, or if you were to write a script, is there any character you really, really like and would love to play?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of things. I'm like, you know, when somebody asks me that, I get all like, wow, there's so many things that I would like to do. Yeah. I once said, and somebody asked me that once, and I said, not so facetiously, but I would like to play like an English butler in something. Just a really calm guy, you know, who's very just cool and collected all the time. I would like to play something like that. With a British accent, it would be nice too. But it would just be, I would like to just play somebody who's just unflappable all the time. You know what I mean? Who never gets rattled or something like that. But unfortunately, I always want to do things like play Captain Ahab and Moby Dick or something like that. So, you know, there's things like that. I don't know, there's lots of, you know, there was a script going around that a friend of mine had worked on, and then it's been going around in which possibly if I got to do it, I would get to play Napoleon. Yeah, see, that was my reaction too. But I was like, that would be great. You know, if I'm going to play somebody who's out of their mind, I'd at least like to play somebody who's ruling the planet at that point. You know, so those kinds of things. But I don't know. I never know what I want to do, which is why I think I don't want to write or direct or do something for myself, because what's nice as an actor is I don't know what's going to come to me all the time. So, and I managed to find lots of different kinds of things, but that didn't really answer your question. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Paul. Tell us, what have you heard about Portuguese movies? Honestly.
I hear they're great. Honestly, I hear it's great. See, but I'm ignorant. I'm an ignorant man. I have not heard much, and that's my. Is this an issue that I should be careful of? That's the honest answer, is I don't know much about it. But that's my problem. That's not anybody else's. I'm ignorant.
Actually, my question from the start, and now about Portuguese wine.
That's good, the Portuguese wine. Honestly, the Portuguese wine is, yeah. And if the films are anything like the wine, it's going to take the world by storm. There's no question about it. But my question would be, what do you think of Portuguese film?
Portuguese wine is very good.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
And what about making a movie here and drinking all the wine in Portugal?
What's that?
What about making a movie here in Portugal?
I would love to make a movie here and drink wine. That would be great. If somebody would hire me here, that would be great. But is there a lively film thing? You don't look at me like that.
It's tricky, you know.
Well, it's tricky
now.
everywhere,
Yeah,
but
especially now. No?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's tricky in America too. So, right now.
That lady over there.
Hello. Hi. I don't know if... Hi, I'm here.
Hi. Okay. Oh God. I heard a voice and I couldn't find anybody.
I don't know if you want to answer this or not. It's not. If you want to talk about how do you prepare for a character or a role, because the first time I saw you, I think it was American Splendor, and I could see that there was, well, this is my opinion, but there was a new voice, a different thing in acting. You are a different actor, and I don't know if you would like to tell us how you prepare for a part.
No, it's funny because people ask actors that a lot and things like this, and it's funny. It is hard to talk about because it's kind of personal. But on the other hand, the best answer I can give is that me personally, I don't know each time what I need to do, and it's a tricky thing because you don't want to over prepare. I can tend to over prepare. I can do too much, and it's a very tricky thing. I mean, something like this kind of character, these kinds of guys are very familiar to Americans, at least. They're on TV all the goddamn time, these guys. Every time you turn the TV on, we're very familiar with them. So I didn't have to do a whole lot. It was more about just, doing those scenes with Ryan and sort of doing what I had to do in the story, serving the story and things like that. But something like American Splendor was very hard because I had to I had to play this guy, and he was going to be in the movie, and it was a very tricky question of the level of what I do, and I had to do a lot of preparation for that, and a lot of work, and watching him and reading his books and meeting him a little bit and all kinds of other things. But I don't have a method that I use every time, which is probably not good. I probably should have a method that I use every time. But I don't know what I need to do. You have an accent, then you have to do that, and that can do a whole different thing for everything, for your body and everything. So I never know what it's going to be that I need to do, and it's a funny game with me because I can over-prepare something, and that's always been a problem with me, is having to actually let go of stuff and not be so prepared. Is the thing that I've tried to do as an actor. So I'm deliberately lazy, basically, is what I am. But it's always tricky gauging that for me.
Can I just ask another thing related to that? How much of you is, how can I say this? You have the script, and how much of you put in it that's yours? Did I make myself clear?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
For example, in a lead role, like Sideways or American Splendor or Barney's version. Because it's very...
Yeah, no, it is really personal, but that's a really hard question. I mean, it's a really interesting question. It's a really hard question to answer, how much of it's me. I mean, they're all me in a way, you know, but then, of course, they're all not me at all, but they are all me in some way.
I'm not saying you, Paul Giamatti. What you imagine for the character.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, as it goes along, as I've gone along in my film career, it was easier on stage. I do feel like I'm allowed a lot more latitude. It does feel often much more. Now, that said, I can still look at it and think I didn't get it right at all, but I do feel like I have a lot more freedom to put what I imagine into it, yeah. Yeah, more so as my life has gone along, yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah. Can I ask, what was the most interesting role you played and why?
In anything? In film or?
Film. Yeah.
Wow. That's a tricky question. The most personally sort of interesting thing to me, the thing that I felt most.
Yes.
I did a movie called The Illusionist, which I don't know if you saw here.
Absolutely.
But it's a movie that although I really liked doing American Splendor too, but that movie was the closest I've gotten to playing an English butler in something, in a lot of ways. But that movie for me had a kind of, not only did I like the script and the story and the character, there was something very deeply connected to kind of very, very deep childhood desires in me. That this was the kind of thing that unconsciously as a kid made me want to be an actor. I wanted to be a detective. I wanted to have a pipe and a hat. And I wanted to be the guy sneaking around spying on people. And I wanted to be on a train. And I wanted there to be horses and carriages. The incredibly deep childhood wish fulfillment that went on in that movie was insane. I mean, it was like I got black gloves, and I was like, I was fantastic. And I didn't want that to end, that movie. I was so sad. And it's funny, when a play ends, it's very sad. When a movie ends, it's not as sad. You know it's going to continue and you're going to see it. But I was brokenhearted when I didn't get to have that pipe and that hat, and I didn't get to be the chief detective. I just loved doing that. For me personally, that was the thing that was the most. I just loved it. Because it was, I was 5 years old. Again, getting to do that, it was great.
Actually, can I ask about theatre?
What's that?
Can I ask about plays then, theatre?
Sure.
What was the most interesting you played?
Oh, I did a lot of crazy things in theater that were really all kinds of things. I feel like, in theater I got to do a lot more, a really, really wide variety of things. I did, Well, almost, again, I mean, it wasn't necessarily, it was just, there's a play by Eugene O'Neill called The Iceman Cometh, which is this 5-hour play, 5.5-hour play. And I did a production of it in New York that Kevin Spacey was in, that he brought from England over to. And the experience of that was so intense. It's an incredibly intense play about horrible alcoholic wrecks of human beings. The whole play takes place in a bar, and these people are deeply broken and tortured. It was just it's an extraordinary play, and I got to play a remarkable role in it of this this man who's completely emasculated by alcohol. And it was amazing experience, and there's so much vitality in the play. Anyway, that was what I would say.
Vamos só fazer mais duas para o Paulo, depois poder ir ver copo.
Hey, good evening. By the end of the movie, we get this idea that your character is sort of a vision of the future for Ryan Gosling's character. And I was wondering, was that something that was intentional throughout the production? Was there sort of at any point this idea, I am a vision of his future, in a more parallel sense, or was it just a shark is a shark and it was a matter of time?
No, I think that there's definitely a sense that that I'm some sort of model of his future. I think he's actually potentially, I don't know if he's going to be worse. I mean, he only seems like he's going to be worse because we've seen him be better. So we don't know how much worse he can get. But I think there's definitely a sense that the worst thing he could be would be me in this movie, if not worse. So it was, I don't think it was I think it was a very intentional thing. Yeah.
Another thing now relating to politics, this movie, was it, I don't know how close you were to the pre-production and the writing, or if you talked to anyone, but do you feel like this movie came about as a reaction to the disillusionment with the current administration, or was that just a sort of sad coincidence?
I think now this I don't know as much about this, and Clooney would be much better if he was here talking about this. Everybody would be happier if Clooney was here. But I do think that he actually wrote it. It started long enough ago that it was a reaction to the previous administration, to this one. And I know that they put the movie on hold because they were going to start making it when President Obama was elected. And they thought, well, why do we need to make this movie now? Everything's great. Everything's going to go just great now. And we're all filled with hope. And that lasted, 3 months. And then, so I think then the happy coincidence of everything going to shit again, it came around and it was like, oh, well, let's make this movie about how horrible it actually is. So I think that's how it worked out.
Thanks.
Última pergunta. Quem tem o microfone? Okay.
Hi. As we know, Portugal has an economic crisis now. What kind of effect had the economic crisis in America on Hollywood? Did it affect your private life, for example?
Did the economic crisis affect? Yeah, it affects my private life. Yeah.
Yeah. In what kind of way?
Yeah. No. Well, it affected Hollywood more than everybody always said. In the first Depression in 1929, it was great for movies because everybody made those great musicals, or everybody was singing and dancing, and that doesn't affect Hollywood, but it actually does. It's amazing. I mean, it's very interesting over there now. But I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. I mean, all the different sort of new technologies and things, and on-demand and streaming things is affecting things too. But economically, it seems to have actually hit Hollywood in a weird way. They're making a lot fewer movies.
Okay. What was the worst management they took because of the crisis that you witnessed yourself?
I haven't been employed as much as I'd like.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's been weird only insofar as to sit there and watch. I mean, I try to, I've produced some small independent movies, and you can't do those really anymore. I mean, nobody will do a small movie. I mean, if you're going to, this is a small movie, but if you're going to do it, it has to have George Clooney in it.
Okay.
And so otherwise nobody will do it. They'll only make now 3 or 4 $200 million, robot movies,
Yeah.
or they'll make a couple of $40 million comedies, and that's it. That's all they're going to do now. So that's what everybody has to look forward to from America
Okay.
and the films that are coming.
Okay, thank you for your time.